Hey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How are you guys doing?
My name is Kathryn.
My name is Hayley.
And we're here to talk to you about scary things.
All things scary. Nothing is off limits.
Right. I am your true crime expert, and I focus on everything true crime.
And I am apparently the only one that likes horror in this relationship. So
I like horror too.
Well, I'm the horror movie expert. And
That's why I hire her. That's why I pay her the big bucks.
Yeah, that's why you pay me the big bucks. Pays me nothing, but it's fine.
You get paid in love and support.
That's all the love and support I need. That's all the payment I need. I'm cheap.
So, Hayley.
So, Kathryn.
What got you into, like, true crime and spooky things?
Trauma.
Same.
I would say trauma.
Oh, yikes. Should we put our trigger warning at the beginning of the podcast, or?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
With us, you never know.
You never do know.
Mm-mm. Especially since we're winging this.
We are winging it, yeah. So today I'm going to tell you guys a true crime story, like a real crime that
real.
had happened one time.
True crime.
Yeah, true crime. That's the definition. I am Merriam-Webster.
Oh, jeez.
And next week we're gonna have Hayley talk to you about a movie.
I suck at planning things, so I have not really thought of a movie at the moment.
She'll think of it next time we record. So are you ready to hear my story? My true crime story? The real story of a true crime?
Always.
Always.
I'm always ready.
Are always ready.
Spill the truth tea.
Your body is ready for this.
Ooh.
So, Hayley, I know you're like 6 years younger than me, but we're going to take you into the past.
Like before I was born?
Like before you were born.
Ooh.
1991, to be specific.
My parents weren't even married yet.
I was 1 year old,
What?
and you were not even thought of.
No. My parents didn't even know each other existed.
Wow.
Well, that's crazy.
That's cray-cray.
All right, 1991. Let's go. Back to the 90s.
Right? When parents didn't watch their kids.
Ooh.
They just put them outside.
Yep. And come home when the streetlights come on.
Right. The 80s and the 90s. But this story changed everything. I'm going to tell you about Jaycee Dugard. The Kidnapping of Jaycee Dugard. Okay. Have you ever heard of her?
No, I have not.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy?
It's a doozy.
Jaycee Dugard.
Nope. So, yeah, I'm going to take you back to 1991.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right.
Time machine.
We're going to follow little Jaycee, 11 years old, to the bus stop from her house.
Okay.
And she comes in contact with a car with a man and a woman in it.
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger, but they didn't know about that back in the 90s.
Well.
I'm glad we survived.
Right.
Anyway, so the person in the car, his name was Philip Gradero, and Nancy, his wife.
Okay.
Philip rolled down his window, and little Jaycee thought...
automatic... Roll it.
Rolled it down, like, manually.
Yeah.
And little Jaycee thought that they were asking for directions, so she walked up to the car, and he shot her with a stun gun. She dropped to the ground, and Nancy pulled her into the back seat, and they drove off.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I don't help people.
Yeah, no.
No,
don't
absolutely
help
not.
anyone.
Honestly.
Yeah, don't help people. That's our podcast tagline.
It's our motto.
Don't help anyone. So when she came back to, and she was being held down in the backseat of the car by Nancy,
Okay.
and she didn't know where she was, she didn't know where she was going, but all she could hear was Philip saying things like, "I can't believe we got away with it, I can't believe we got away with it." And so they brought her back to their house, and they had this, like, in the backyard, there was, like, a second backyard that was, like, an encampment of sheds and, like, a soundproof shed and tents. And so
That's suspicious already.
That's super suspicious, but ain't nobody know about
They have
it.
neighbors? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, we'll get to the neighbor.
Oh, okay.
She was put into the soundproof room, handcuffed behind her back. Mm-hmm. This is a plot twist, but, like, I'm going to tell you guys the end. She does survive. This is a great survival story.
Okay.
So a lot of the information I got was from an interview that was done after she came back.
Okay.
She said...
Straight from the source.
Straight from the person who experienced it. Anyway, she said that when he put her in the handcuffs, he said, they're fuzzy so they won't hurt.
I'm kidnapping you, but
Yeah,
I want to
but
make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Weirdo.
But she described it as like the most horrible moment of your life times 10. Obviously. She was also told that there was a dog outside that would attack her if she tried to escape, so she didn't.
It was probably a chihuahua.
There's probably no dog, actually.
Oh, no dog. Okay.
And then her beautiful, wonderful mother, Terry, she searched for Jaycee until she came back. A very long and hard search for a very long time, and she never gave up hope, which was very sweet. But
that's a true mother's
we'll go back
love
to
right there.
Right. We'll go back to that soundproof shed she's in now, though. Not with her mother. We're not with her mother.
No.
We're with Jaycee. So Jaycee is dependent on Philip for food and water and human interaction. She doesn't get any of that anymore. And then a week later, he brought a milkshake in and said, this is going to be a trigger warning for, like, sexual assault. Like, if you don't want to listen to it, let's just fast forward, like, 30 seconds. But he brought a milkshake in, and he said, this will be different this time. And then he raped her.
Oh.
And that happened, like, every day while she was with him for a very long time. Which was sad. Very sad. But he also did this crazy stuff with her that was like, she said that he would call them runs, but he would like get methed out with her and like pretend that he's hearing voices in the walls and the ground and like try to make her listen to the voices in the walls and the ground. Like, it was bonkers. He was psycho.
Like, psycho crazy.
He was fucking psycho. Crazy.
Well, yeah, to kidnap.
Well, yeah. But she always had hope. But when she was 13, she had her first child. There in the
Soundproof.
backyard. She had her first child without any medical help.
Ooh.
There was complications with it even. And Philip and his wife watched, childbirth videos to try to get her through it.
Wow. Yeah, because you don't need years of schooling to, like, understand how that works.
Right.
You just need to, like, Google it real quick. You
know? And you hope that a 13-year-old will be able to have a child without any complications. She's only 13.
Right.
And then at 17, she had another child. So now we are 17 years old. She was taken when she was 11. Mm-hmm. Now we're 17, 2 babies later. She really loves her daughters, though. They're like the only thing that like got her through, probably. We're gonna rewind a little bit. She's there with her daughters. We're gonna push pause on that story. We're gonna rewind all the way back to 1976.
Oh, wow.
And there's this girl, her name's Katie Calloway, and she was abducted when Philip came up to her and asked for a ride to a gas station because his car broke down. He directed her to like a rental storage unit. And he did very bad things to her for like 6 hours until the police came. And the police knocked on the door and he went outside and he came back. He was rummaging through everything and he said, they want the receipt. And she goes, who's out there? And he goes, it's the cops. You're not going to be bad, are you? And she was like, no, I won't be bad. And so he was looking for the receipt and she bolted out into the place. Because if it really was the cops, like, she was like, this is my only chance.
Right.
And so that's when Philip got arrested and he was sent to prison. And he was sent to prison for 50 years. Now, remember, this was 1976. 50 years later would be like now, right?
Yeah.
Now. But he got out in 11 years. 11 years.
For what? Good behavior?
Yeah, he like convinced the parole board that he was good. He convinced his therapist that he would not be a danger to society.
So, master manipulator.
He's a master manipulator.
Ooh.
I mean, how else do you get your wife to help you kidnap a child to keep in your backyard? Mm-hmm. Like, he is a manipulator. But yeah, 11 years for torturing someone. Seems good. Yeah, seems like he did his time.
Plenty of time.
That's plenty of time when he was supposed to go for 50 years.
Right. I bet that was so hard for him.
Yeah, I know. But if he had never gotten out, like, if he
would actually, like, served out his sentence.
This would have never happened.
Right.
Which is, like,
so indirectly
irritating.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating.
Right.
Actually.
Exactly. But, like, this happens countless of times. Like, people go to jail for long times, but they don't stay there. And they get out for heinous crimes. It's disturbing. Anyway, we're back with Jaycee.
Okay.
So he was on parole when he had Jaycee in his house. So people on parole agents have to come to their house and make sure they're doing fine.
Right.
Make sure they're not doing drugs, do drug tests, yada, yada, yada. Many parole agents came in contact with Jaycee and her daughters while they were in his house. He is a registered sex offender.
And they didn't think anything of it.
And they said, "Who's the child?" And he said, "That's my brother's child." And they said, "Okay."
No.
Parole agents just not doing their job. Like, this whole thing did not have to go on as long as it did because of that fact.
Yeah, they're just negligent. Like, if they would just ask questions or, like...
Or gone into their backyard.
Right.
They never went to the backyard. Like, that's bonkers to me. Like, I can't believe.
But you just don't see anything. You don't think that's weird at all that a registered sex offender has, like, 3 children in
random
his house.
Kids in their house that you see occasionally. Like,
yeah.
Sketchy.
I'd be asking more questions. Be like, oh, okay, like, what's their name? Like, how old are they? Like,
or maybe, you probably have the brother's contact information.
Right, like,
call the brother.
Him, yeah.
Hey, do you have a daughter? No, I don't have any kids. Oh, there we go. Red flag. Like, there's a reason that they have to come to the house, and they just weren't doing the job that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And so it's really frustrating. The rest of the story is just really frustrating until the end. So prepare to be frustrated.
Okay. Great.
Right? Now, remember you mentioned, does he even have neighbors?
Yeah, I was like, no questions asked.
No questions asked, no. But there was a neighbor. I don't know her name, but I'm going to say her name was Carol. Because whose neighbor's not named Carol?
Carol?
Carol.
Okay. Carol Baskin. Just kidding. That was like so 2020. But anyway.
Carol, lovely Carol, called the police one night saying, "My neighbor has 2 girls in his backyard and they live back there in tents." Oh, that's weird. And your neighbor's a registered sex offender and he's on parole?
Yeah.
Why don't we go check that?
Right.
That sounds alarming.
Sus.
Super sus.
Super sus.
Police officer went and stood in his front yard and talked to Philip and then left. Didn't go to the backyard.
Again, didn't go to the backyard.
Philip must have been able to manipulate him into thinking that all was good. He is manipulative and narcissistic. Like, he's all of the bad things rolled into one person. And he didn't search any further than the front porch, not even walking into the house.
Right. Like, didn't request to see the kids or anything, like...
Right, and the visit wasn't reported to his parole officer, nothing. He came, he saw, he talked to Philip, he left.
Good old Philip.
Good old Philip. While Jaycee was with him, she wasn't allowed to call herself Jaycee. He told her that she had to pick a new name.
All right.
And so Alyssa Milano, when she was a kid, was on a show that she watched in the bunker. So she went by Alyssa. Philip had a card printing, like a business card printing or printing business, where people would order like flyers, business cards, yada, 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 print it out and send them off. So she was running his printing business. She had contact with people who were outside of the family by doing these printing orders for people. And she was just Alyssa, his like niece or whatever. And like it was crazy because she didn't, I mean, like, I'd understand being with him that long. Like, she said that she was more scared of what was unknown outside of the house that she was in.
Yeah.
And where she was. And it often happens with people who are abused. They often stay because they don't know what's going to happen when they're not there. You can't blame her, but, like, it's hard to wrap your mind that, like, in that situation when you have access to a phone, that you don't call your mom, you don't call the police, or you don't tell someone who calls you for an order, hey, I've been kidnapped. Like, can you come? Like, can you send help? Like, but like, you can't blame her for that.
Right. I'd be honestly more scared of like the consequences.
Right. Especially if Philip was so good at like passing things off.
Yeah, like manipulating people. Like,
if he found out. Yeah. That you tried to leave.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. She always said she felt safer there than in the unknown, which I understand. She's now 29. 11 to 29. That's 18 years.
Wow. And
Philip is going on this crazy... He's basically starting his own religion. He is saying that he can speak to angels and demons, and that these people, people need to know what the angels and demons are saying and all of this stuff. And he is like a prophet or something. Like, he has written out this whole book, like a manuscript or something, like crazy stuff. And so he goes to UC Berkeley in California. He goes and he talks to the campus police and says, hey, I want to have a kind of like a demonstration here like and talk about my religion to these people, because these students really need to know.
Yeah, they really need
to know. And so the perfect and wonderful two campus cops that spoke to him, their names are Lisa Campbell and Allison Jacobs. And they took him into a room and they got like his information and they said, wait here, we'll be right back. And he was with two young girls. So the daughters.
Right.
And he said, these are my daughters. And they were like, okay. And they called him dad. Like, there was no reason for them to suspect that they weren't the daughters. But he was kind of crazy. He was sounding crazy with the way that he was talking. So they took his name and they ran it through, like, the police stuff. And they found out he was a sex offender and all of this stuff. And so now the fact that he had two young girls with him,
it's raising questions.
Yeah. And these two campus cops, like, actually did the things you're supposed to do when questions are raised about people who are sex offenders or whatever, like they listened to him ramble on about his religion stuff. And when he left, they reported it to his parole officer, and they called Philip in. And so Philip came in, and this time he was with Jaycee, which was bonkers. Why would he have even brought Jaycee?
Right.
Like, Jaycee's the one who could ruin it all for him if she was at a police station with police officers away from Philip.
Right.
So like the girls actually might not have known anything was wrong because that's all they've ever known.
Right.
The daughters. But Jaycee knows different. It's been 18 years, but she knows. Like, there's another life out there that she had before. He was brought in for questioning, and Jaycee was also questioned separate from him. And after hours of questioning him, he finally confessed.
He confessed?
Yeah, Jaycee didn't even confess. She was like, my name's Alyssa. Like, he's my dad. Like, all this stuff. Like, she was going along with the story as long as he was. Mm-hmm. And he confessed, and so they confirmed with Jaycee. So they went to Jaycee, they sat her down, and they were like, were you kidnapped? And she was like, no, my name's Alyssa, and like I blah blah blah. So they were like, we think you've been kidnapped. Yeah. They're like, are you sure? Like, is your name really Alyssa? And she goes, no. And they go, what's your name? And she goes, I can't say it. I haven't said it for 18 years. And so they gave her a pen and paper, and she wrote down Jaycee Dugard and her birthday and her mom's name on a piece of paper. And they gave it back to her. So her mom got to come see her. Her mom never lost hope. She put up flyers. She put up everything. She kept her face in the picture in like the news and stuff. Her mom never lost hope. Like they even did those like age like
time lapse kind of thing.
Yeah, like they made her look older to see like
what she would look like now.
Yeah, hopefully that might jog people. But she was 29 years old when she left, and her daughters were 15 and 11, which is pretty bonkers. That like one of her daughters was how old she was when she got kidnapped. Like that's a long time. Philip and his wife Nancy were both sent to prison. I don't know exactly how long Nancy was sent to prison for. I couldn't find that information. But Philip was sent to prison for 431 years at the age of 60.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely...
Yeah. He's not going to get out of this one that easily.
No, I don't think so.
And so he's still in jail now. He's still alive. Unfortunately.
Bad.
And Jaycee received a $20 million settlement from the state of California. Hayley, why do you think she got that money?
Oh, my God. Is it because the state of California... It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and their parole officers.
The parole,
like everyone just didn't do their job.
Right.
And she could have been out of there way sooner. She deserved at least $20 million for 18 years of her life. It's like a little over $1 million per year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
I would say maybe more. So Jaycee, she wrote a memoir called A Stolen Life, and it's very graphic. Like, she describes a lot of it in graphic detail because she wants to be able to help other victims of sexual assault, which is, she's like the perfect person. And
she sounds like it, yeah.
She's wonderful. And she, in her interview, like her first interview after she came back was about a year later. Mm-hmm. And she was like so hopeful, and she goes, I could never lose hope because I was still alive. I was at least alive, so I still had hope. And like, I was like, okay, the most minor inconvenience for me. And I'm just like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm so done.
Like, I'm just done with everything, yeah. I need her strength and inspiration.
Seriously. And so she said in the interview, she goes, it's better to laugh and cry instead of just cry. Which is like such a positive outlook. That like...
I need to get that put on my wall.
Seriously. Like
get
a t-shirt.
Live, laugh, love out of here. Like...
Right? With her charitable heart, she started a foundation called Jaycee, Jaycee, the Jaycee Foundation, and it's to help families with reunification after, like, trauma. Being gone for 18 years and being brought back to her mom, that would be reunification with her family. And so her nonprofit has safe space for victims, they have workshops for caregivers, and they also have law enforcement workshops that cops can go to like learn more about how to
get more educated.
Yeah, get more educated.
So this kind of stuff, the right questions.
Yeah, so this kind of stuff like doesn't happen again.
Right.
To like think a little bit more. And she also focuses on animal assisted therapy, and she's committed to helping others. And the last thing that she said was so sweet, and she was like, when I do have feelings that come up about the situation, like anger and stuff. Right, obviously. Because the interviewer said, how are you so positive? And she goes, I obviously have feelings that, you know, of anger about what happened. But, like, I acknowledge those feelings and I move on. And I'm like, You acknowledge those feelings? Like, I'd be pissed for eternity if that kind of shit happened. I mean, that's all I could think of. Like, in my mindset, I'd be pissed for eternity. Honestly. I'd have so much hate in my, like, inside my heart for this man. I already do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I already dislike this man.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's the story of Jaycee Dugard. The survival story of Jaycee Dugard.
I was going to say, the survival story.
I am a big sucker for, like, I survived or, like, you know.
I know you're a big sucker for underdog stories.
I love underdogs.
I know.
And I love survival stories. So, like, I had to make the first story a story where no one actually died.
Right. Well, only going downhill from here.
Yeah, I mean, the next story I can't promise no murder, but...
Right. Well, there's definitely murder talk, at least in mine, because that's what happens in horror movies.
You know, sometimes it's just spooky. Sometimes no one dies.
Could be spooky. No, there'll probably be blood, for sure.
You love gore.
I know, I'm a gore whore, as I like to say. And you hate that. I know you hate that.
I just can't stand it when
I say that.
When you say that.
I'm sorry. I saw it on like a t-shirt or a meme or something, and I said, me. I was like, I've never been able to describe myself so well.
Yikes. So you think that horror is the word to describe you?
For gore, yes.
You're a whore for gore.
Yes.
I'm a slut for chips and salsa, so it's okay.
Yeah. I know. That's me with queso.
It's a little more wholesome than gore, but...
Yeah, that's like the true love story, the chips and salsa. Mine's just fucked up.
Chips and salsa will never leave you, and neither will gore movies. I mean, they do end, though.
I mean, they do eventually end, then you have to actually, like, find one that's good.
Oof.
And not, like, some cheap, like, CGI blood.
Are we gonna watch, like, B-rated movies or, like, C-rated movies?
Oh, yeah.
F-rated movies?
Oh, F? That's a rating?
No, but...
Okay.
I mean, some of them probably deserve an F.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I got a lot of Fs when I was in school.
I remember getting my first F in, like I think not geometry, but it was like a math subject, and I thought it was the end of the world because as a previous, like, Southern Christian girl...
The Southern Belle.
Grades were very, like, you have to get all A's. Like, you have to, or you will fail at life. Like, yeah, it was...
I failed a lot of my classes in high school. Like, I had to retake 9th grade English, like, twice.
I was always surprisingly good at English. Like, I hated it, but I was always really good at writing.
I was great at English. I just hated my school.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say, you're really good with words and everything, so I was...
Yeah, rewind it to listen to me say like and like 45 times in that story.
It's okay. Everybody does that.
Okay.
It's called editing.
Oh.
Yeah. You can turn that 40 into, like, 5.
Oh my gosh, guys, if you didn't hear very many likes and it's because I got real good at editing. Real good.
Pristine editing. But, I mean, content, man.
Content, baby. Do it for the pod.
Oh, do you remember when that Tide Pod thing? Fucking, what is it, Gen Z?
Yeah, when they ate Tide Pods?
Yeah.
You're kind of close to Gen Z. You're a zillennial.
96 baby.
Oh, that's like barely a millennial.
I'm just above average, like, my whole life.
I've never been above average my entire life, except for in weight.
Oh, no. Same. Oh, God.
Oh, and height.
And height, yeah, you was a tall beach.
I'm a tall beach.
I always was the tall one in like school.
Yeah.
I'm 5'7", but like I was always like, oh, can you grab this for me? Can you grab and how's the weather up there? And I'm like, and now I look at it and I'm like, I'm 5'7", that's average.
Right. Imagine being 5'10" in high school. 5'11". Just like towering over everyone in school.
Just be like, I will crush you. Do not talk shit to me.
Maybe that's why people didn't talk to me.
I'd be scared of you.
Oh my gosh.
I'd be like...
I'm just having a realization. Maybe people were scared of me.
Yeah. That's some power. That's power right there. Everything just completely changed. Like your whole growing up. Like you're just like, oh, they were afraid
I thought
of
they
me.
were making fun of me, but maybe they were actually like terrified.
Maybe.
They were probably making fun of me too, though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Trauma.
I was like, what?
Yeah, trauma. Oh, God.
Yikes. We all got issues.
Yeah,
we got issues. You got them too. What if there's no singing in this podcast?
No, absolutely not.
That was the first and last, if it made it into the cut, the first and last time we're ever gonna sing.
We apologize.
Also, that's probably a lie. We will sing. It's just gonna be very bad.
Very, very bad. Yeah.
Well, how did you want to end the podcast, Hayley?
I don't know. This is gonna be like our spooky may give you nightmares kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We can be like, see you in your dreams, but see you in your nightmares.
Little podcast babies, little
podcast baby. This is our first podcast baby.
This is.
So, and we like spooky, and we're babes like everybody else listening to this podcast.
Right.
So, there are spooky babes.
Spooky babes, as you lay your head to sleep tonight, and you watch your Office or Friends, or whatever sitcom that gets you to sleepy mode,
or those true crime documentaries that put you to sleep at night,
right?
Because of the ASMR,
or this very podcast,
I don't know about that, but
probably not. I mean, spooky babes, we'll see you in your nightmares.